I oversee a team of volunteers, a leadership group within the YMCA. While listening to an old podcast, I heard you say we have to lead volunteers to feel like they're owners, not like volunteers. Then you said, I love the idea of creating ownership for my teams. What are some tangible ways to begin practicing this leadership principle? Great question. How do we help volunteers own it? Language matters. I like to say this. We don't just recruit volunteers, we release leaders, because volunteers do good things, but leaders change the world. Language matters. Walter, I love that you're working with teenagers and investing to develop them to become better leaders, and I love that you want to give them ownership. I want to give you a few statements that might be memorable and helpful. This is not a complete explanation, but it's a starting point for the discussion if we want to create ownership. When you want to create ownership in your team or your volunteers, define the what, explain the why, let them choose the how. Let me say it again. Define the what, explain the why, let them choose the how. Let's talk about it. Giving ownership doesn't mean we're giving the vision or the mission away. You define what you're about. You define what you want to accomplish. That's the what. The why adds value to it. You also want to give them the why. What typically doesn't inspire. The why behind what we do is what inspires. People will work for a what, but they'll give their life for a why. So you set the tone. The what gives direction. The why creates passion. And then as often as possible, and it's not always possible, but as often as it's possible, you're going to let them choose the how. Now, this is where it's going to get difficult for you, Walter, because as a leader, the how they choose will often be different than the how that you would choose. You're going to see a different way to get to the end result. They're going to see maybe an idea that you never thought of or one that you don't even like as much. And this is where you have to have a little bit of grace to let them do things in a way that would be different than you. Over time, they might actually do it way better than the idea that you had in your mind. So when they know the what and they understand the why and they help create the how, they're going to own the overall vision. Let's think of it this way. What do workers do? Workers work. Doers do. Owners own. We want to help people own the how, and that way they'll think more like owners. This is your vision, but you're giving them freedom to help bring about the vision. So what are you going to do? You're going to work toward delegating authority, not just work. There's a difference. Work is you do what I say. Authority is here's what I want, but you determine how to get there. And this is the big key. We're not just delegating tasks, we're delegating authority. If you delegate something to do, your teenagers will become doers. If you delegate something to decide, they will become owners. We're not just delegating work, we're delegating authority. The bottom line is we're going to have to give them some freedom. The quickest way to kill ownership is to micromanage. Some of you, you're listening right now, you have a manager, a supervisor, a leader who micromanages you, and it's hard for you to continue to care because they're micromanaging. If you want to empower someone else to own, you cannot micromanage. You have to give them some freedom. Micromanaging is the fastest way to kill ownership. As they're owning, give them feedback along the way. So you're not just going to say, here's the assignment and go do it, and I'm not watching. No, you're watching, you're coaching, you're giving them feedback. And when they do something great, you celebrate it like crazy because what is rewarded is repeated.